Hello! Today we are going to knit this headband with needles. Even a beginner can make it. It's very simple to make, but it has a very interesting knot. Let's take a closer look at the knitted headband. Let's look at all its features. This is how the headband looks from the right side. As I already said, it has an interesting knot. It's easy to make, and by the end of the video, you'll see for yourself. From the back, the headband looks like this. There is no seam here. The cast-on edge of the headband is here. Then we knit the headband, and here is the bind-off edge. After that, we sew the headband together and create the original knot. Now I will show you how the headband looks from the inside. This is how it looks. And right here in the middle, there is a small seam. The yarn is very soft and the headband is stretchy. It stretches very easily and returns to its original shape. The headband is also double layered, even though we are knitting it flat in rows. Because the headband is double layered, it's warmer and more wind resistant. It's convenient. We knit the headband in rows, but the fabric is double layered. You can use any needles you like, whether circular or straight. Even double-pointed needles will work. The knitted fabric looks as if it were knitted in stockinette stitch. But we will be knitting with a special tubular stitch. I will now measure the width and length of my knitted headband. Unstretched, it is 22 centimeters here, and here, approximately 12 centimeters. The headband stretches well. For my head circumference of 59 centimeters, the headband fits perfectly. You can knit it for absolutely any head circumference, whether for a child or an adult. You will just need to knit the required number of rows for your size. You can try it on as you knit and make the headband in the exact size that you need. I knitted this specific headband with this yarn. It's Drops Air. The color number is 26. It's a blown yarn. Its characteristics are as follows. One skein is 50 grams, approximately 150 meters. The fiber content is 65% alpaca, 28% polyamide, and 7% wool. I started knitting this headband from a new skein of yarn. After finishing the knitting, I have this much left from the skein. It's approximately half of it. This means that if you take a whole skein of Drops Air, you can knit approximately 2 headbands from it. I knitted the headband with 5.5 millimeters needles. I used circular needles for the headband. You can use other types as long as they are the right size. You can also knit the headband with any other yarn, different fiber content, different yardage, different weight. In that case, use needles that are the appropriate size for your yarn. If you want to use the same yarn as me, I'll show you its label up close. Okay, let's start knitting. First, from the skein, we unwind about 1 to 1.5 meters of yarn. This is so we have enough yarn to cast on our stitches at the beginning and then to seam the headband at the end. I cast on my stitches this way. I drape the yarn over my thumb and index finger. I take one needle and I cast on the stitches like this. I dive the needle under the yarn by my thumb. Then I pick up the yarn from my index finger. I immediately have 2 stitches on the needle. Then again, I dive the needle under the yarn by my thumb, grab the yarn from the index finger with the needle, and like this, I pull the yarn through. However, you can use any other cast-on method that you prefer. It doesn't make any difference here. You can cast on just like I'm showing you, or in a different way. I am casting on 33 stitches to knit a headband of my desired width. If you want it wider, cast on more stitches. If you want it narrower, you will cast on accordingly fewer stitches. I am casting on 33 stitches. I'm finishing casting on the stitches. I have a yarn tail of this length left. I will use it later to seam the knitted headband. If your yarn tail is very short, don't worry. When we finish knitting the headband for seaming, you can use the yarn tail that will be left at the end. This part isn't critical. I'm starting to knit. I'll begin knitting with the tubular stitch. I will show you how to do it now. And I will be knitting, as I said before, in rows back and forth. Let's begin. The first stitch is the selvage stitch. I just slip it. The next stitch I knit through the front loop so the stitch isn't twisted. And the next stitch, which we would have purled if we were knitting a one-on-one rib, I don't work it but slip it purlwise. I keep the working yarn in front of the work. This means the working yarn wraps around the front of this stitch. Then I knit one again. Next, bring the working yarn to the front, in front of the work. Slip the stitch without working it. Return the working yarn to the back. Knit one. For the next stitch, slip it purlwise with the yarn in front of the work. Knit one. Slip the next stitch purlwise with yarn in front. And we repeat this to the end of the row. Knit one, then slip one with yarn in front, then knit one again. We work like this to the end of the row, and I'm approaching the end of the row. Knit one, then slip one, knit one, then slip one purlwise. Now I have two stitches left. First knit one. The last stitch is the selvage stitch. I purl it. I have finished the first row. Now I will knit the next row. Slip the first selvage stitch. Then I knit as follows. This stitch looks like a purl stitch. I don't work it, but I slip it with the yarn in front. The next stitch looks like a knit stitch. This is the stitch that we didn't work in the first row. I knit this stitch. The next stitch looks like a purl stitch. I slip it purlwise with the yarn in front. Then a knit stitch again. Knit through the front loop so the stitches are not twisted. At the beginning, it might be a bit difficult to tell which stitch looks like a knit and which one looks like a purl. In the following rows, everything will be obvious. I will knit like this to the end of the row. The last stitch, as a selvage stitch, I will purl. My knitting now looks like this. All subsequent rows will be knitted the same way. Slip the first selvage stitch. Then I look. If a stitch looks like a knit stitch, I knit it. The next stitch looks like a purl stitch. I slip it purlwise with the yarn in front. It is because I'm slipping the stitch without working it that I will get a double layered headband. I will knit like this until I reach the desired size for the headband. For me, it will be approximately 70 rows. You might have a different number of rows, whatever you need for your desired headband size. This is how the knitting looks now. The headband is turning out stretchy. Let me measure the headband. It's approximately 48 centimeters here. This is about 70 rows. You should knit the number of rows that you need. When you've decided that you've knitted the headband to the desired length, we will bind off the stitches. Because we knitted in a special way, we have a double-layered headband. That's why it will be warmer and won't be drafty. And this is an important characteristic for a headband. Now I will bind off the stitches. You can do this in any way you like. I will show you the method I use. I work the stitches as if I were just knitting a row. At the same time, I will be passing one stitch over another. This is a knit stitch, so I knit it. Now I pass one stitch over the other. And instead of two stitches, I have one left. The next stitch I slip purlwise. And again I pass one stitch over the other. Knit stitch. Pass one stitch over the other. Slip the next one purlwise. And again pass one stitch over the other. And we continue like this to the end of the row until all stitches are bound off. Next stitch. Slip it purlwise and pass one stitch over the other. But if you prefer some other bind-off method, feel free to use it. Here, it makes no difference at all which method you use to cast on stitches and which method you use to bind them off. This is because neither the beginning nor the end of the knitting will be visible. So use whichever method you prefer and go with that. I am binding off the last stitches. If you are left with a short tail at your cast on edge, and it's clearly not long enough for seaming, then leave a longer tail here. I have a long enough tail at the beginning, so here I will cut the yarn and weave in the remaining tail. There, I'm cutting it. I pull the loop tight, and this yarn tail I will weave it in. I prefer to weave in ends with a crochet hook. It's more convenient for me. You can also weave them in with a tapestry needle. It's also a matter of what's more convenient for you. So we've done the main work. Now all that's left is to make the beautiful knot. To do this, we fold the headband with the right side facing in. It's reversible, so you choose which side will be your right side and which will be the wrong side. And you fold it with the right side facing in. After that, like this, you fold one side of the headband and the other. you can adjust it a bit to make sure everything is even. Now I will seam it. I'm seaming it tightly. I'm only seaming the middle for now. When the middle is seamed, I start seaming this part and this one. To do that, I'll straighten them out like this. And I will seam right here. Sew as neatly as possible. You can use an invisible seam, like a mattress stitch, to make it as unnoticeable as possible. If this aspect doesn't worry you too much, then you can seam it in any way. It will also look neat. At the end, secure the yarn. And you could have, of course, woven in the end with a tapestry needle, but because I already cut the yarn, I am going to weave in the tail with a crochet hook. I hide it like this. This is what my inside of the headband looks like. And now I turn the headband right side out. And let's see what a gorgeous knot we have. It's simple to make, as you saw, literally a few stitches, and that's it. The headband is ready! We did a great job. Thank you for being with me. Subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in new videos.